All right, this is lesson 5, module 2, and this is going to be a very short description of documentation. I just want to go through some important parts of documentation because documentation provides a lot of information and detail for your learning narrative. Documents, one of the things that you'll know if you ever ask people who have had my course or when I review their portfolios, I am very big on documents. I think documents are really important to back up your learning narrative, and there can be so many different types of things, which we'll review, but it is a really important component because it provides that detail that maybe you aren't able to fully describe in your writing. So what are some documents? They could be job descriptions that you have on hand. Resumes can also be a document that you refer to. Work products of anything that you've done with your work, business cards, certificates, conference programs that you've attended, meeting agendas can be a document, workshop descriptions if there's any training or workshops that you've done, non-credit courses could be a form of document. For instance, this semester I'm taking a non-credit course in Python, which is a computer programming language. If I was writing a portfolio for a computer programming course, I would include that syllabus or course description in my documentation. Awards could be something that you include in your documentation. Letters, it can be letters of recommendation or letters of projects that you've done, thank you letters maybe that clients have written to you. It could also, I've had some students go back to their former supervisors or current supervisors and write out letters of projects that they've done and sort of, commending them for the great work that they've done. Letters of recommendation can be documents included. Licenses, if you're writing a real estate portfolio, for instance, a real estate license can be very helpful. Some students who are writing more creative portfolios include artwork. In fact, we had someone who wrote a portfolio for a piano class and taped his piano playing, as well as we had a yoga instructor tape their yoga course or their going through yoga poses and how they would teach a yoga course. So video media could be included as far as documentation. If you're using a computer programming, that can be an excellent, including projects where you did coding. Computer software coding can be very helpful. Photos, I've had lots of students who have submitted photos for their documentations on projects that they've worked with. Newsletters, if you've ever written a newsletter or been included in a newsletter, that can be a great place. And then performance reviews can also be a form of documentation. The important part here is that documentation equals detail. When I'm asking and when I see a portfolio and I say I want to see more documentation, it's really because I'd like to see more detail of what you're describing. And you can describe that and write that through in your learning narrative, but sometimes it can be really efficient to just include a document to demonstrate and show this was the project that I worked on. This is especially true when students are writing computer programming portfolios. Just writing about the learning of computer programming isn't probably all that exciting, but being able to provide and demonstrate the code that you've developed can be very powerful in a learning narrative. Documentation. Now, how in the learning narrative do you refer to the documentation? Well, first of all, documents are at the end of the portfolio, and they are listed by appendices. It's Appendix A, Appendix B, Appendix C, Appendix D, etc. It's not numerical, it's alphabetical by A, B, C, D, E. And we're very particular about that it is alphabetical. And when you write it in your back, you'll have a listing of all the different documentation that you have. You'll kind of have a title page for your documents. And then every document has a full page title page that's listed as Appendix A, full page, then the document, Appendix B, then full page, and then the document, Appendix C, full page, and then the document. I know it seems odd that you have a full page. It just says Appendix A, and the title of the document. You can include that, but it helps separate the different documents. And so there should be separate full Appendix A title pages or Appendix B for each document. And as far as a portfolio, it's included at the end of the portfolio, and it's the last section. It's called documentation, which should be included. All right, that's really all I have to say about documentation. It's an important part. I think you should include it in your learning narrative as much as you can. If you don't have any documents, please come and talk with me. We can talk through that. But even a resume can be really helpful to include in it as far as documentation. All right, we'll see you in Module 3 next. Thank you.